we had done a couple of pretty difficult questions, so I guess it's about time we got one that was, I would say, on the easy side. So 2010 number one opens with a pretty easy question. But again, we see this user-defined class. So hopefully everyone's kind of starting to realize this is a big deal to the College Board. Like you're going to see a user-defined class more than likely on your two-question exam in 2020. So this class here, cookie order, was made up for this question, and it's got three things. It's got a constructor. So every cookie order takes a string and an int number of boxes. And then we can ask for either of those. We can ask for the variety as a string, get variety, and we can ask for the number of boxes as an int, get num boxes. So if you give me a cookie order reference, I can access either of these two pieces of information about it, this string or int. All of these cookie orders are put into an array list that's been named orders. The name of the class is master order, but the name of the array list is orders. Very important. Every year on the rubrics, the grading notes for AP free response questions, they always put in some notes. And one of the common notes every year is that kids consistently use wrong variable names. So make sure you're using the correct variable name. The name of this array list is orders. In part A, just easy total method, go through that entire array list. Every entry in that array list is a cookie order. Okay, and we know that if we have a cookie order, we can ask how many boxes are in that order. So if there's 10 orders and the first one might have 5 boxes, the second order might have 20, the next one might have 1. We'll just go through every order one at a time, ask for how many boxes are in it, add it up, return it as an int. Okay, pretty straightforward. And then in part B, we see a remove method, right? So one of the favorites of the College Board is to give you a remove method with an array list. So far, I think we did a forwards for loop, and I stepped back. We did a backwards loop. So we'll try the while loop for this one. And this one has one extra dimension. It's got an int return, which is the number of boxes that have been removed. So we'll have to keep a running total. Every time we remove, before we remove it, right, we don't want to do it too after the fact. Before we remove it, we'll ask how many boxes were in it. We'll add it on top of that total. Anytime you're comparing strings, make sure you're using dot equals. Don't rely on equals equals. Okay, so this should be a pretty easy one to write together. Again, okay, we have cookie orders, basic total return method here in part A. So probably just want to initialize a total to 0. Later we'll return total. This sets itself up nicely for an enhanced for loop. Okay, so for every cookie order, maybe we'll just call it like C for short, coming to us from the orders array list. All right, all we have to do is just add on top of that total every order's get num boxes value. Okay, so every cookie order has a number of boxes associated with it. We ask for it with get num boxes, and then we'll add that on top of the total. And in part B, a similar idea, right? Because we're actually going to need to run another total in this problem. And so right here, okay, we could return that total. I don't see any overlap between A and B, so I'm not going to like call the method from A within B. I mentioned that I would write a while loop for this one. So if we write a while loop, we'll make an index, and we'll run while that index remains less than orders.size, so that we stay in bounds. And then the freedom of the while loop is that you can choose when to progress index forward. We won't progress index forward anytime we're looking to make a remove. All right, so the remove is going to happen when we're going to go to the list orders. Okay, we're going to get one of the orders found at index. We avoided this in part A because we used an enhanced loop. And then we're going to get the variety. Okay, that was their string return method. If that string equals the cookie var, cookie variety that was handed to us as a parameter, then we want to actually do two things, right? We first want to add to our total the number of boxes that were associated with that order. Okay, so I'll go ahead and get the order again, but this time instead of asking for its variety, we'll get its number of boxes. Okay, and then at that point I could safely remove it from the order, and we remove by index, so we'll remove index. Okay, if I don't make a removal, then I want to go on to the next order. Remember, if we make a removal, we don't actually progress index because all the boxes to the right of our order will shift one left within the array list, and we can just stay where we are. All right, so I think it's got pretty much the same test cases that were in the directions. And there's the original master order. This is 13 boxes. That's 1 plus 5 plus 2 plus 3 plus 2, so that's correct. And then testing part B, if we remove chocolate chip, there was 3 different orders, 1, 3, and 2. 1 plus 3 plus 2, 6 boxes got removed. Chocolate chip's not in the master order. There's no such thing as a brownie order, so we didn't remove anything, and we got 0. And yeah, okay, so it looks good. Again, there's I think I've shown you now in the last couple of problems like 3 different ways that we can do a remove method. And that also means, like I mentioned before, the Cows Board loves remove methods. So, just in the few problems we've done so far, we've seen 3 of them. So that's definitely something to be on the lookout for. I think this problem's easy, but it just emphasizes that we have to be able to adapt to a user-defined class, call the methods from it. We didn't have to use the constructor in this problem, okay? But in a future problem, maybe we will. In a future problem, we might have to write a constructor for a class that has an instance field of array list or array. Very likely, okay? So if you don't know, now you know.